What is up, everybody? Escape211 here. We are on the test server, and we are looking at some of the new items, a new mech and a new weapon based on the update notes. You probably saw those already. And we're going to start with the mech. All right, this one we saw in the dev log. This is the Deathwalker. It was codenamed Phoenix. I kind of like that one better, but actually both are cool names. We'll look at the weapon in a little bit, but we'll start here with the mech. So this one, if we look at the stats, it is actually really similar to Blockhorn. Same energy cap, same HP. Speed, I think, is also the same as well. So stat-wise, he's already doing quite well, but it's his ability that's really going to put him over the top. If we go back and we look at that, this is the reanimate ability. Basically, he drops something, and if he's killed while that thing is active, he will just go back to that spot and get all of his health back that he did lose, plus 10%. And, you know, if you're doing it where you're 100%, that doesn't mean anything, but later on in the match, it can actually be helpful to get that little HP boost with it. But yeah, pretty insane. He also gets a speed boost during it, and that is the other crazy thing, all right? So the duration on this is 15 seconds. Pretty long duration, and if you use implants, you can get close to like 20 seconds, I think. And the cooldown, even though that's pretty high, again, you could take that down quite a bit. I think at least 5 seconds off it, and get like 10 seconds. He does also have that invulnerability window while he's teleporting back to the location, so that can be beneficial. But yeah, the speed boost is the crazy part. So basically, he has tank stats, and for that 15 to 20 seconds, depending on your implants, he will have like surge speed. It's going to be like 30 seconds. I mean, 30 km, not 30 seconds, 30 km, which is crazy. So like the potential of this guy, even when just thinking about him before you actually see him in play, already looks pretty amazing. So we're going to see how he does in play with a match that we recorded. So here we go. Okay, I've seen a lot of this map for sure. That's all right. All right, so we are using the Viper 16. This is not something I use too often, and I have tried a few different builds with this, like the pods and the miniguns. Both have been pretty good. I'll probably talk about some of those, but this one I feel has been a good mix, especially dealing with mods, just because it can deal with, you know, MLs with the tick damage and then big spikes with the rockets. And with him, you know, the level of exposures worked pretty well. So I try to find a few targets that I can engage with, and then I pop my ability. There's a couple down here, so let's try doing that. I was gonna drop down, but I think I'm gonna try to take this guy out up here. No, I'm not. All right, figure maybe if I take more damage going down, and then I'll get the spot too. I was hoping they would kill me here, but I've just been getting hit by a lot of hemlocks that don't do a ton of damage, but just freeze me up. But I was trying to either get killed or limit the damage to my mods. And that's the tricky part with this guy, even though I think he's very strong. When you have your mods up, you can lose like pretty much all of them in your first encounter. And then when you come back, you're kind of weak because you've lost those mods. So you can kind of be in that problem. But I still think he's very effective even regardless of that, because you're getting extra mileage out of him, and again, that speed boost you get with him, you know, just really adds to his overall potential. But yeah, so I've been using Viper, been the favorite with this, although I did like the pods. Oop, we're gonna lose it there. There we go. We'll come back and we'll get a good chunk of our health back. So pretty good there. That's too far. I don't know why I'm shooting at him. But the pods have been good, and even though it works well, and I think with the delayed damage and his ability, it works nice, because even if I die in an encounter with somebody, they will die and then I'll come back. All right, he's gonna kill me here, and we'll come back. Kind of like how that would be if I was using pods. All right, let's see if we can corner shoot this guy while I'm waiting for my ability to come back. Should be able to take him out. Oh my gosh, come on. Drop your mods already. But I think the pods will... Sorry, going back to the pods. I think the pods will end up being better for other mechs, again, with this guy, that need the lower exposure time. So I didn't really want to use that. The other one that was quite good are the miniguns. I feel that those are pretty darn strong in this whole thing. Okay. This guy creeping up. No! Oh gosh, I'm so close to dead. Maybe we can take this guy out. Use all your pods. He did. That's good. See, that delayed restart, it helped, but not when 2 people are shooting at me. Still, that was a good run. I'm happy with that. We'll stay with that. But the other one that I was going to say is miniguns. Yeah, so like the cycle time, like the reload time and the reanimating time together are close to the same. So you could basically be super aggressive, unload your clip, die, and then when you reanimate, reload, and then your reload and your animation are both ready. You can then go in again. You can do the uber aggressive build with the miniguns pretty effectively. So I did like that. I just like the versatility with the Viper right now. So I went with that on this one. But those are a couple other builds that I thought worked well for this guy. He just seems really, really strong. I can see a lot of great uses for him. That mixture of speed and survivability that this guy has is going to be, it's going to be favored quite a bit. And I think this guy is going to be a meta one. So definitely want to keep an eye out for that. All right, so now we're going to talk about the new weapon. This is the Dreadshot, all right? I love the way this one looks. It's such a beefy gun. It looks really good. This is the 12 that we're rocking, so we're going to have that on Orion. I love, like I said, the way this looks. I also love how this weapon sounds and everything like that in terms of its overall feel and performance. Let's take a look at its stats, though. So this has a decent amount of damage per mag. Not the greatest per shot, but not bad. The fire rate is pretty slow, though, so its DPS is not great given its slower fire rate, but the actual per shot damage and the fact that it can do double damage chance can give it some decent like spikes of damage. Its optimal range is pretty darn good, 70 meters, and then its max range is 120, and if you use a range implant, you can get pretty high with that. I think you can get close to 150 meters, so it's kind of like a pseudo sniper in that sense. It's not obviously as long range as those, but not bad. It also has a pretty good sized clip, and you know, not the greatest time for reload, but not too bad either. Its projectile speed is quite fast. It's not like a railgun or EM, but it is faster than some other sniper weapons like the Quantum Gun or the Gauss Rifle. Pretty good projectile speed overall. The problem with this is just that, again, the slow fire rate mixed with its damage per shot is not really helping it, all right? If you compare it with other, I don't even have it out here, but if you compare it with like miniguns, which are another heavy weapon, those have way more damage per clip overall, and just because it fires so much faster, we'll go to the 12, it's going to do a lot more damage. So yeah, this has like 530k. The other one I think was like 160k that you get out of it, and it's just way faster in its fire rate, so the DPS that you have with it is way faster. However, you're kind of like paying for the versatility of the range this has, and its double damage chance and stuff like that, so it's kind of like a hybrid weapon. So interesting, but let's see how it performs. We'll bring it into a match. Here we go. All right, so here we go. We're using our Orion with the Dreadshot 12. I will share my build. Mostly try to play off or hopefully get some more added damage with Orion since I have his shield pierce ability on. I haven't really used this implant much. Maybe others know how this implant actually does with the shields from the mods. I'm assuming it's mostly going to be like on ability shields. So it may not come into play here, but I was wondering if it would, so I figured I'd give it a shot. But there wasn't really a whole lot that I really felt I needed to add from the weapon anyway. Maybe the reload would be helpful, but I think with the 15 shots that this has and all that kind of stuff, it's still pretty good. As you can see, it's doing pretty good damage, and again, it got that range implant, so I'm at like, what did I say before? I think I'm at like probably about 150 meters, roughly. I don't think it's quite 150, but it's pretty darn close to that. So yeah, I mean, when you're on half of the map or most of it, you can hit almost everywhere. So it's pretty good. I'm happy with that, but the actual per shot damage is not great. So yeah, I mean, those shots don't hit too bad, but they're not that great either. And thinking of how many shots you have to hit, especially if you have to go through mods, it's quite a lot. Now, I will say that in some respects, this is kind of the opposite to like Railgun or EMs, where you're putting all your damage into a single shot, because if you have ML shields, this could potentially do better against those, and a lot of players will use those just because the perimeter one especially is really reasonably priced, and it's a great shield to have. So this may end up being like in place of some of those other snipers if people want that for that kind of a build. But this weapon is pretty bad up close just because the fire rate is slow. So once anything creeps up on you, you're toast. And because you need to land so many shots with it, even when I'm using Orion here, I mean, look at that. It just feels like there's too many that you need to hit somebody with. So a player is not going to sit around to take that fire. It's just, I don't think the overall DPS and the slow fire rate are doing this enough work to make it viable, or at least it feels that way. I do wonder, once the 16 comes out, how that's going to fare, especially with something like Blockhorn, where that is going to have some added ability damage, and you got the 16s. I think percentage-wise, that would be better than what we're getting here, but I'm not entirely sure without seeing all the, you know, all the numbers and stuff like that, and mathing on it hard. I hate mathing, so I'd rather not. But yeah, I mean, I'm taking the easy road here in this position. But this is what you're going to want to do with this weapon. You're going to want to take a good position where you have good coverage and then just peek shoot. You know, it's going to be your most effective way to do it. I would think something like Stalker or Brick House could also do decent here. But I still think Orion's going to be the best, even if you don't have the implants that I do for doing this kind of stuff. But maybe that's just me. I don't know. But I've been overall happy with its like feel, just not its damage and actual performance. So yeah, I mean, it's a fun weapon. Don't get me wrong. I don't really think this is going to be super meta for a lot of people. Certainly not the 12, but I will say I'm hopeful for the 16. I want to see how that one actually plays out. We'll see how it compares here. Once we get to that, I'm assuming they're going to make a 16. And that is both of those, you guys. Overall, like we said, the Deathwalker is quite strong. I expect this to be meta. I do think it's something that you'll see a lot. It actually kind of reminds me, again, the idea of speed and survivability are just generally really important in this game. And another tank that does it really well, top tier, is Vortex. This guy has similarities in terms of his tanky body, and then also having 32 energy, and then having that speed boost to give him a good mixture of speed and survivability. So I expect him to be in the mix for the meta builds that you'll see at top tier. Not so much the same for the Dreadshot, I gotta say. This one, like I said, I love the way it looks, I love the sound of it, and the overall thought and feel, and how it's a hybrid. I always love hybrid weapons, but sadly, you pay for that. They tend to underperform, and that's the case with this weapon. It's just not doing enough damage. Even when you consider that I use it with Orion and like shield piercing and other stuff, it still is just not really hitting the numbers that you'd want it to. It kind of helps that it deals with some of the mod stuff, but I don't think it does it quite as well as some other weapons. Like the Viper that we were using with the Deathwalker, I think just does better at like dealing with the mods and certain shields than this weapon does, sadly. You know, I don't really think it's a bad weapon, but I would say it's kind of mid. So I think this is not one that you necessarily need to get, and I actually don't think it's worth the legendary tag. I don't know why they always feel the need for everything to be legendary, probably just for sales or stats or whatever. I think this could be like an epic, and then there could be another version with better stats or maybe something else that would perceive it better as a legendary. But that's just my overall thoughts. I am, like I said, I think already curious to see how this will do when we get to 16 and you put it on something like Blockhorn with his little damage boost that he has and his shield, the uptime that you'll have, and seeing how that does for damage, I'm curious. But as it stands right now, the 12 does not perform for me. So yeah, mech is meta, weapon not so much. But those are my overall thoughts. You guys can let me know what you think below, and we will see you out there on the battlefield.